So, good morning or good night, depending on where you are in the world. And welcome to another album review of The Shield Dude on a Couch. I'm your host, Hector. And today we're going to talk about the fourth album by the band Vola. They're a progressive metal band from Copenhagen. And the new album is called Friend of a Phantom, which is following their 2021 album Witness. And I really enjoyed their 2018 album. I think it's Applause. I can't remember the whole name now, but that was a great one. It had a great single called Ghost, and they're a band that mix a lot of like pop sensibilities, electronics, and great singing to this like progressive metal style. So on their fourth album, they come back with 9 songs and 40 minutes in length. So it's a fairly short affair of an album. And I gotta say, this album uh, has some interesting parts to it. So this is the album cover for Friend of a Phantom. And yeah, the cover is pretty cool. It that actually kind of looks to me like Billie Eilish. like she's there like enthusiastic to listen to this album. So yeah. So this is the cover of the album. And this album has one guest star. I remember their last album had a few guest stars. There was even a song that had some rap on it, which I thought was very interesting. But on this one, they went with Cannibal, featuring Anders Frieden of In Flames. And this is the heaviest song on the record in musically, because, with Anders, it gives it some of that melodic death metal feel to the song. And it opens the album. So, yeah, this was, I think, the one of the first singles that they released for this. And it's a great album opener. You want to open an album strong from the gate. And this one really has it. And I think Anders' vocals really fit with the lead singer of Vola, because his vocals are more like pretty, like pop sensibilities to them, which I really find that are really great. And, it complements uh, the Anders on the vocal range. So I thought that was interesting. But then the album has, I think the album starts pretty strong. The first 3 tracks you have Break My Lying Tongue, which has like an electronic effect that I don't know how to explain it, but it's kind of screeching it sometimes, and it's almost prevalent in the whole song. And that one has some djenti sounds to the guitar, and so a little bit of like little nukes here and then of electronics. There's no solos on this record. This is not a band that takes a lot of time, like with like doing like complicated solos. It's straightforward music, but with different time changes and complexities. Then the second track, the other track that follows, "We Will Not Disband," I thought it's a pretty catchy song. And the lyrics, a lot of bands this day, unfortunately, are disbanding because of monetary reasons. It's not as lucrative as before. So I thought it was quite tongue in cheek that they're doing a song that, we will not disband, but Bola, if you do disband in the future, this hunt will come to bite you in the ass. Because you were saying, like, we will not disband. So please, Bola, do not disband. But it's a great track. And again, I like the bass tone on this one, the subtle use of electronics in some parts, which I think really give it a nice flair to it. So uh, there's also, I think sometimes this band shines when it has a more stripped type of sound, like less is more, like with songs like Glass Mannequin. And I don't know how we got here. It's more soothing electronics. It's more quieter, like not ballady, but yeah, it's more like electronic and less bombastic sound. And it's a great way to contrast their more bombastic side. But I think standout tracks on this album, besides Cannibal, I think Bleed Out, which I think is one of the last singles that they released, is great because in this one you get that dejected progressive nature of the band. And also they use a lot of synths in their music, which I think are really complement, and I think it complements the vocals very well. Uh, I think maybe toward the ends of the album, I think there's a few songs here and there, like Paper Wolf, Hello Kid, Trey, that there's a few songs that sounds like pretty similar to me. And the last song on the album, Trey, I think it's an okay album closer, but I think this is an album that the first half is stronger than the second half. After Bleed Out, the other tracks, the last four tracks are, are a little, they're not bad, but I think there's a little bit of dip. And since there's a lot of like similarity to some of the sounds, I think they kind of lost me. And another minor critique of this album is that I think on their previous releases, especially on Applause, they had this like a Ruby Pool and that Ghost song that were so catchy. And I think it's kind of missing in this record. Not to say that the songs are bad, but there's not that song that gets me like, oh, super pumped. I think the closest they come to it on this is Cannibal. But Anders Frieden's vocals really are a big part of that track, and it gives it more of like an inflamed sound to the song. But yeah, Friend of a Phantom, it's a very solid album. I think for metalheads, they can be put off a little bit by so much electronics. And I think they use a lot of electronics on this record. So that may be something that if you're like this metalhead that like your metal, like real metal, like that could make you like stray away. But if you like progressive music and progressive music that has a lot of like melody, I think this album is for you. Uh, I quite enjoyed it. Out of their four albums, I think all their albums are good. I think still the second one is my favorite, but I think this is a very solid album, and you should not sleep on it. So I want to know from you, Couchers, what do you think of Bola, Friend of a Phantom? Comment down below what are your favorite tracks from this record. And of course, if you like the videos that I'm putting out, do not forget to give me a like and do not forget to subscribe. That helps me with the YouTube algorithm to get to more people like yourself. So coming up next on the couch this weekend, we have a new Is It That Bad? And we're talking new Skillet and more interviews coming your way. So until next time, couchers, this sector, the Shield Dude on a couch, and I'll see you all right here on the couch. Thank you and goodbye.